Defining the deformation process part 1. So, in previous lecture, we discussed the metal forming operation that was consist of two parts. The first one was bulk deformation process, and the second one is sheet metal process. We discuss a little bit about bulk deformation process now. In today's lecture, we will discuss about different type of bulk deformation process in detail. So that will contain rolling, other deformation processes related to rolling, then forging, then other deformation processes related to forging, and then extrusion, then war and by war drying. So basically, bulk deformation process is the metal forming operation which results in significant change by deformation in metal parts whose initial form is bulk rather than sheet. As we have discussed that in this bulk deformation process, surface area to volume ratio is high. That's why the material is in bulk rather than sheet. Starting bulk forms was cylindrical bar, billets, rectangular billets, slabs, and similar shapes. So in bulk deformation processes, also sometimes it improves the mechanical property because we have discussed different type, that is cold working, hot working, etc. But in that you have seen that in cold working strength is increased while ductility is decreased, while in hot working the ductility is increased and metal can be easily shaped. So these processes work by stressing metal sufficiently to cause plastic deformation into desired shapes. All these were discussed in previous lectures. Perform as cold, warm, and hot working operation. So now, what's the importance of bulk deformation process? So the first advantage is that when performed as hot working, you can easily get the shape change in that metal. So when performed as a cold working, strength can be increased during shape change, little or no waste, because some bulk deformation operations are near net shape or net shape. So that's why there is no machining is required to obtain the final shape. So each part required little or no subsequent machinings. This was already discussed in previous lecture. Now there are four basic types of bulk deformation process. The first one is rolling, the second one is forging, third is extrusion, and fourth one is wire and bar drawing. So rolling, in rolling, slab or plate is squeezed between the roller. Basically, this process is used to reduce the thickness of the metal sheet. In forging, work is squeezed and shaped between the opposite dies. You have dies in which the shape is defined. Now the work is squeezed in that dies, opposing dies, and the shape can be obtained by using forging operation. In extrusion, work is also squeezed for die opening, thereby taking the shape of opening. Now there is a die in which the shape is defined. Now the work metal is forced to pass through this opening, and it will get the shape of the opening of the die. So that process extrusion we will discuss later in this lecture. Wire and bar drawing. Diameter of wire or bar is reduced by pulling it through a die opening. So this is a rolling process. You can see that they have two opposite rollers, and the work is passed between these rollers, thus increasing the thickness of the worksheet or the working metal. Now the second example was about forging. Now you can see that these are the dies, opposite dies having the shape that is defined in these dies. Now the work is squeezing between these two dies, and the metal get shape of the desired shape. This is example of extrusion. Now there is opening, and metal is forced to pass through this opening, and that will get the shape. That is extrusion, and this is the drawing operation in which you have to draw the metal from this opening, and the diameter of the piece is used. Now let's discuss it in detail. So rolling is a deformation process in which work thickness is reduced by compressive forces exerted by two opposite rollers. You can see these are the two rollers. This is anti-clockwise direction, and the rotation of this is clockwise direction. When the work metal is passed through this roller due to compressive forces and the rolling action, the work thickness is reduced. You can see that here the thickness is large and here the thickness is smaller. So the rotating roll perform two main functions. Pull the work into the gap between them by friction between the part and roller. This was the first function of rotating rollers. And the second one is simultaneously squeezing the work to reduce the cross section. This is a flat rolling. That was the type of rolling. Now, type of rolling. We can classify the type of rolling basis on the geometry of work by. We can also divide it by the temperature of the work. So let's see how we can define the type of rolling by geometry of work. So the first one is flat rolling. It is used to reduce the thickness of rectangular or flat or rectangular cross-sectional parts. You have already seen in the previous slide that was the example of flat rolling. In shape rolling. In shape rolling, a square cross-section is formed into a shape such as I-beam. In coming slides, you will also see the example of shape rolling in which you have a square cross section and then in multi steps you get the shapes like I beam, H beam, T's, etc. So that is the example of shape rolling. Now, by the temperature of work, we can divide the rolling type into two: hot rolling and cold rolling. In hot rolling, most common due to large amount of deformation required in shape. Now it is performed when there is a subsequent large amount of shape changes are required. Then we will perform hot rolling. In cold rolling process, fully sheets and plates stocks are used and no heating is required. So all are discussed in the coming slides. So rolling is a very capital intensive process as massive piece of equipment called roller mills are required to perform it because roller mills are very expensive. So that is why it is a capital intensive process. And to perform rolling, we need rolling mills. High investment cost requires the mill to be used for large production of standard items such as sheets and plates of steel rolling practices. The work starts out as cast steel ingots that has just solidified by casting. We have previously discussed that you have some what shape that has been obtained from the casting process. You have ingots, you have slabs, you have steel bars, so that are used for rolling purpose. Further processing is performed. While it is still hot, the ingot is placed in a furnace where it remains for many hours until it has reached a uniform temperature throughout. Now, the temperature for steel is around 1200 degrees centigrade. So, the duration up to which the heating operation is performed is called soaking, and the furnace is called soaking pits. So, a furnace in which you have placed that metals for heating purpose that is known as soaking pits, and the time duration or heating operation is performed is known as soaking. So the word ingot is used here is consist of certain shapes. The ingot is then rolled into once you get ingots through the casting process, that is rolled into one of the three intermediate products. The first one is bloom, slab, or billet. Now, what is bloom? Bloom is a cross-sectional in area of 150 millimeter or higher. So minimum it will be 150 millimeter and it can be higher, but the shape will be cross-sectional will be square. Now in slab is a rectangular cross-sectional of width to 250 millimeter or above and thickness 40 millimeter. So if you have a rectangular cross-sectional area, that must be slab. So you can see that width is higher than the thickness. So this is the example of slab. Now billet. Billet is a cross-sectional in nature or cross-sectional in shape of 40 millimeter or higher. So basically the difference between bloom and billets is that billet is of smaller cross-sectional area. And if you have 150 millimeter or above square, that will be come into the category of bloom. So these intermediate shapes are subsequently rolled into the product shapes. We perform different rolling operation in order to get our desired power geometry. So you can see here that flat and shape rolling operations. So continuous casting, you get ingots, and from ingots you can get slabs that is rectangular in cross sectional, 40 millimeter thickness and 250 millimeter width. While billet, you have billet for 40 millimeter in cross sectional are somewhat higher than 40 millimeter of each side of the billets. While you have brooms, then brooms is of 150 millimeter into 150 millimeter or higher, but it is also square in cross section. Now you can see that these slabs, billets, and brooms are further processed to get the various shape. The slabs is used in flat rollings. So you can see you can get hot strip pickling, and then from this strip you can get pickling and oiling, and then you get uh, cool strip as well. Basically, here you can see that you can get the uh, reduced thickness plates. Further, then it can be used for welding purpose to get the hollow pipes. While in billet, you can see that you have different rollers, and you have to pass through this billet through these rollers, and you will get different uh, smaller cross-sectional areas such as smaller square rods, and this is further uh, uh, process in order to get seamless pipes as well. So this is example of billet. Now in looms, you have seen that you have 150 millimeter or higher in cross-sectional square. So you have to pass through different rollers in order to get the different shapes such as H-beam, I-beams, rails, beam, etc. So this is general classification uh, rolling processes over slab, billets, and loom. Can see that this is a bloom. You can get structural shapes such as I-beam, H-beam, rails beams, etc. In slab, you get plate, sheets, coils, etc. While in billet, you get spar, rod, etc. So these are some of the steel product made in rolling mills. You can say that these are the intermediate rolled form, and that are the final rolled forms. Now, flat roller rolling analysis. You can see this is a first roller, this is a second roller, this is the plate having initial thickness T naught, and after rolling the thickness is reduced to TF. V naught is the initial velocity and VF is the final velocity. Now this area is in contact with the rollers, so that is known as contact length. And this, if we trace this line and bring it to origin points, and similarly if this contact point is traced, so it will make an angle theta that is known as roller uh, angle. You can say that theta angle, and this radius r will be known as roll radius, and the pressure that is exerted on this plate is known as roller pressure. So these are the parameters that are used to analyze the forces required to reduce the thickness. So after rolling the drop, the drop is defined as the amount of thickness reduction, that how much is thickness reduced, and it is represented by D, which is equal to T naught minus TF. T naught is the original thickness and TF is the final thickness. So if you get any value, that will be drop, that this much amount of thickness has been reduced. Reduction is equal to drop expressed as a fraction of starting stock thickness. So if you define drop over original thickness, the value that will give you the reduction. Basically, D is the drop and T naught is the original thickness. So it is the ratio between the drop to original thickness. And then it expressed as a fraction of starting stock thickness. So where R is the reduction. You can see these are the same things that this is the area that is in contact with the roller. Similarly, V naught is the original velocity, final velocity, W naught is the width, WF is um, uh, uh, final width, H is the thickness, that is actually TF, and H naught is the original height or original thickness. You can see this is the alpha or theta, this is the roll radius. You can see that pressure is exerted on the workpiece as well as on the workpiece on this side as well as on the center of the roller. So, due to this torque, the force are exerted, or pressure is generated on these plates that help in production process. So, schematic illustration of flat rolling process. Friction force acting on the strip surfaces, the roller force and the torque acting on the rollers. The width W of the strip usually increase during the rolling, as in uh, figure 13.5. So width is actually increased in the after the rolling. So now you have seen that there is a friction between the plate and strip. So that in this slide we will discuss how to reduce the forces and power in rolling. So force and power to roll a strip of given width and work material can be reduced by any of the following. The first one, using hot rolling rather than cold rolling to reduce strength and strain hardening of the work material. As we have seen that in hot rolling process, the strength and strain hardening is reduced. So in this way, the material can easily flow or plastically deform. So by using hot rolling, you can decrease the forces or power in the rolling. That is equation, flow stress YF is equal to KF and R. Reducing the drop in each pass. If you reduce the thickness, amount of thickness, you can see that if you have multiple passes, instead of going to reduce the thickness in a single pass, that will require high stresses or forces. So instead of going to a single pass by to achieve the final thickness, you have to pass it in multiple steps. So that in this way you can also reduce the uh, stresses. And this length or pass or contact length, that is defined as L is equal to under root R into T naught minus TF, where R is the roller radius, T naught is the original thickness, TF is the final uh, thickness of the plates. Number third, using a smaller roller radius to reduce the forces. So if you use smaller radius, so you will have the smaller contact force contact. So if the contact is small, so then force is reduced. Using a using a lowering speed n to reduce the power. So you can also reduce the speed of the roller in order to reduce power, because power and rolling speed have a certain relation. You can see it in the book. So by reducing the speed of the roller, you can decrease the force. Now this is a typical example that is given in the book. Kindly go through these examples. All that I mentioned and the parameters are given. You have to just put it in the formulas and to get the required roller force, torques, and mass powers, etc. Maybe at the end of lecture we come to this example 9.1 as well. Now in shape rolling, up till now we have discussed the flat rolling, now we will discuss shape rolling. In shape rolling, the work is deformed into a contour cross section rather than a flat rectangular. So in this shape rolling, you will get a contour cross section, not a flat or rectangular shape. So it can be accomplished by passing work through rolls that have the reverse of desired shape. So the roller will have the desired reversible desired shape that you have to be put in your final product. So gradual deformation through several rolls to achieve final cross section is achieved by designing a specific roll pass. You will see in the example, and you have already seen that by passing it to different rollers, you will get your final roll pass designs. Product that we get from shape rollings are construction shapes such as I-beam, L-beam, and U-channels, rails for roads, tracks, round and square bars, and rods. So this is the example of shape rolling. You can see that this is the initial stage, the bloom rolling. You will get certain shape. Then after in stage two, you will get edge rolling. Now the edge here you can see the edge is not perfectly inclined. So here the edge rolling, by using edge, you will get the same edge as that of the roller. Then at of horizontal and vertical rollers. You have horizontal as well as vertical roller. In order to get this horizontal as well as this vertical, or you can see to make the edges horizontal and vertical perfectly. Then intermediate horizontal and vertical, further the thickness is reduced, the gap between the roller is reduced. Now edging rollers, that is used for edging purpose. And then you have finish horizontal and vertical roll. You have these rollers, so now the work has to be passed through these rollers, and you will get the final shape. So all these are the stages of shape rolling. Now this it is not necessary to have 6 stages. You can have different stages that depend on your part geometry or your process. This is a roller mill pictures for hot flat rolling. You can see these are the rollers, and the work has been passed through it. This is a roller. You can see that there are multiple rollers. Now rolling mills. Equipment, as you know, that roller mills are equipment that are massive and expensive. So various rolling mill configurations are available to deal a variety of application and technical problem in the rolling operations. We have two high, three high or four high roller mills that we have cluster or tandem rolling mills. In rolling mill configurations, two opposite large diameter rolls can be either reversing or non-reversing. We have three work passes through both directions. We have force, back roll supports, smaller work rolls. Smaller diameter rolls means lower forces, torque, and power. We have cluster mills that have multiple backing rolls on smaller rolls. Tendering rolling mills, sequence of two high mills. So they have been installed side by side and sequence of having some sequence. So by following this sequence, you will get your final shape. Various configuration of rolling mills. You can see that this is an example of two rolling mills. We have two rollers, three roller mills. Now we have three rolling rollers. For multiple passes, you can see that the diameter is initially reduced to V1. Then from after getting the product from these mills, you have to pass it in back to these rollers, so the velocity is sorry, so diameter thickness is again reduced. So we have four high roller mills. So you can see that by pressures and due to the you can see the rolling action in opposite direction, it will help you reduce thickness. So if why it is necessary to get this, why not to use this simpler one? The reason is that in this you can see the diameter of rollers are reduced, so the forces will be reduced. That's why four high roller mills is used over here. While in this, you can see that the diameter is large, so there will be large forces acting on this. Custom mills, multiple backing rolls allows even smaller roll diameters. So you can see that there is much smaller diameters rolls that help in reducing the thickness of the metals. Backing roll arrangement. This is the example of backing roller arrangement, and you can see there are multiple rollers that are available and that help us in even getting smaller thickness like strips. So this is the action A, B, and C. Two. This is the backing roller arrangement, and this is typically shown the example of two roller, three roller, and uh, four high roller mills. Tandem roller mills. That tandem roller mills, we have seen that there are arrangements that are installed side by side or near each other. So a series of rolling stands, two high mills in sequence help achieve higher throughput rates in standard products. So you can see that is giving you a smaller thickness because the output will be placed to this, and similarly you will get a smaller thickness at the as the thickness increase in each rolling step, work velocity increases, and the problem of synchronizing the roller speed at each stand is significant one. This is the example of tandem rolling. Now, other deformation processes that are related to rollings are thread rolling, gear rolling, ring rolling, roll piece piercing, or Mannesmann mills. Thread rolling and gear rolling. So, word deformation processes that are used to form threads on cylindrical parts. Instead of machining, you have the rollers that have threads, and by passing through this roller, the threads are formed on that metal or cylindrical shape. So, word deformation process used to form threads on cylinder part by rolling them between the two dies. Most important commercial process for mass production of bolts and screws, and is performed by cold working thread rolling machines. The advantage is that it have higher production rate, better material utilization, because in cold work processing, no machining is required. You will get the near net shape or net shape. So stronger thread due to work hardening, because due to cold working, strength will and strain hardening will increase. Better fatigue resistance due to compressive stress introduced by rolling. So gear is a cold working process similar to, it's a gear rolling process that is similar to cold working process, and that is similar to gear rolling is also a cold working process, and that is similar to thread rollings. So you can see these are dies, and moving dies. Now these dies moves and threads are formed on these parts. So start of cycle and end of the cycle. The bolt is placed between these two dies. Now this is a fixed die, this is a movable die. When this die moves, the shape is engraved on that part, and you will get your final part. Now ring rolling. Now ring rolling is a deformation process in which thick-walled ring of smaller diameter is rolled into a thin-walled ring of larger diameter. So as a result, thick-walled ring is compressed, deformed metal elongates, causing the diameter of ring to be enlarged. That is generally performed as a hard working operation for long reach, and cold working is performed on a smaller ring. So what is its application? Bell and roller bearing races. By races, you know the inner geometry of the of bearing or ball or rolling bearings. Steel tires for railroads, wheel and ring for pipes, pressure vessels, and rotating machineries. So it is the advantage of this ring rolling is material saving, ideal grain orientation, strengthening to cold working operations. So these are similar. You can see this is an example of ring rolling. Now this is a smaller diameter, and by having the help of ring roller, you have reduced the thickness as well as increase the diameter of the ring. Roll pressing or management process. This is a specialized hard working process for making seamless thick wall tubes. So you have, if you want to obtain thick wall tube, you will use roll pressing processes. The basic principle of this process is that when a solid cylinder part is compressed on its circumference, high tensile stresses are developed at the center. So if compression is high enough, an internal crack can be obtained in this process. Compressive stress on a solid cylindrical billets are applied by two rollers whose axes are oriented at slight angle from the axis of the billet, so that their rotation tends to pull the billet through the roll. A mandrel is used to control the size and finish of roll. So you can see that this is a mandrel. These are the rollers, and that is used to control the inner shape. The mandrel is used to control the inner shape and also to get the hollow tubes. Now coming toward forging operation. Now what is forging? Forging is a deformation process. Bulk, you can say it is a category of bulk deformation process. So it is a deformation process in which work is compressed between two dies. You have two dies, and the shape is already available in that dies according to your desired shapes. So you have to put the bulk material in these dies, and you have to compress. After compressing, you will get the shape of the dies that on the part as well. So work is compressed between two dies using either impact or gradual pressure to form the parts. That is the oldest metal of forming operations. That is about 5000 BC. Component we get from forgings are engine, crankshaft, connecting rods, gears, aircraft, structural component, jet engines, and turbine parts. In addition to basic metal, industries use forging to establish basic form of large component that are subsequently machined to final shape and sizes. So forging are also classified on the basis of temperature or basis of the forces. So based on the basis of temperature, we classified as cold forging and hot forging. So hot forging or warm forging is the most common, and it is due to significant deformation and need to reduce the strength and increase the ductility of the work metal. So the workpiece is heated in order to easily flow, and we can get the complex shape as well as to increase the ductility of the work metal. In cold forging, you have already have some knowledge about cold for processing. So in cold forging, advantage is that it increases strength and strain hardening as a result of cold working operations. So the rest both operations are same. You have dies and you have metals. By pressing the dies or by exerting the forces, you can get the desired shape. Now, impact versus press forging. So we have forge hammers and we have forge press. Forge hammers apply an impact load. You have an impact load just like a hammer. You have to press the dies by applying an impact load. While in forge press, you have to apply the pressure gradually. Then you will see in next slides type of forging. We have different type of forgings. The first one is open die forging, impression die forging, and fleshless forging. The distinction is based on the degree to which the flow of metal is constrained by the dies. The first one is open die forging. Now in open die forging, the work is compressed between two flat dies, allowing the metal to flow laterally without constraint. So you have two dies, flat dies, and you have the material in between or metal in between them. Now you are going to press that metal, so it will compress and allow the metal to flow laterally without any constraint, because there is no constraint. You have just two open flat dies. In impression die forging, now by word impression means that die will have certain shape in that. So die's surface contain a cavity or impression that is imparted to your work part, thus constrain the metal flow. Flesh is created that is trim off later. So you have dies, and in dies you have cavity or surfaces that you want to impart to the workpiece. So by pressing the metal in between these dies, the metal will flow and will get the shape of the dies. In this process, the flesh is also created. Flesh is basically an extra material that flows laterally to without any constraint. You will see in the next slides. Now, fleshless forges. There are certain impression die forging in which there are constraints and you will get no flesh, no extra material. So that type of forging is known as fleshless forging. One part is completely constrained in a die and no excess flesh is produced. You can see this is an example of open die there. These are the two dies. There is no constraint on this. By pressing, the metal will flow laterally and will have no constraint. The lower die is stationary while upper die is moving, and you have to apply pressure or force on the upper die. This is an example of impression die. You can see these are the impressions or cavities that are available in your dies, and by pressing the metal, you will get the shape of die. Now you can again see that there is no constraint over here, so metal will flow over this. Now these flashes are extra materials you need, which is useless and it must be removed up to get the final geometry. Now this is the example of fleshless forging. You can see that there are constraints. The die will have also shape upper die and lower dies, and you will get the exact shape over here. So there is no flash in this example. Open die forging. It involves the compression of work part with cylindrical cross section between two flat surfaces, similar to compression test. So deformation operation reduce height and increase the diameter of work. Commonly includes now open die forging. We have two types: upsetting or upset forging. Open die hard forging is an important process produce sharp disc engines, and it is used for large square ingots into a round cross section, creating a favorable grain flow and metallurgical structure. So basically, the open die forging is generally known as upsetting or forging. Now, what is upsetting or upset forging? In upsetting or up forging, the height is reduced and the diameter is increased. That is known as upsetting or upset forging. Open die forging with no fractions. If no fraction occurs between the work and die surface, then homogeneous deformation occurs so that radial flow is uniform throughout work part, height, and true strength is given by a natural logarithm of original height to its height, initial height. No, sorry, after height after the forging operation, where h naught is the starting height and h is the height at some point during compression. At h is equal to final value, that will be hf2 strain is maximum value, and the force required to continue the compression at any given height is given by y. F is equal to yf over a. Similarly, it is the same as you know that flow stress is equal to force per unit area. So force is over here. So if you multiply flow stress with the area, that area you will get the force required to continue the compression. Now you can see that this is initial height and initial diameter, and after pressing it, it will get the D, and at any instant of time you can get diameter and height, and this is the final diameter df and h. So start of the work, the first one is start of process with workpiece at its original length and diameter. The second one is partial compression, and third one is the final size. Now open die forging with fractions. So friction between work and die surface constrain lateral flow of work, resulting in barreling effect. Now what is barreling effect? You can see that these are the surface that are attached with the dies, so that will perform the fraction, and here there is no fraction, so it will flow toward this, like it will expand. So that is known as barreling effect. So if in hot open die forging, effect is even more pronounced. ज़्यादा होता है उसमें क्यों? Because it is due to heat transfer at and near the die surface, which cools the metals and increase its resistance to deformation. So basically the resistance over this surface will be high because it is in contact with the dies, and cooling operation will be rapidly over here, resulting here will be a barreling effect. The bow factor causes the actual upsetting force to be greater with no friction case F. If you consider no friction case, then F is equal to Kf YFA, where K is the forging shape factor given by the equation, and this Kf is equal to 1 plus 0.5 mu in D over H. This is the example. All the parameters are given. Kindly go to this example 19.2 in your book and just solve it. Impression die or closed die. So in impression die or closed die, we have already discussed this compression of part by dies with inverse of the desired shape. Flash is formed and by the metal that flow beyond die's cavity into a smaller gap between die plates. Flash must be lateral trimmed from the part because it is useless and it serves as an important function during compression. Now, what is the importance of flash that is produced? As flash forms, friction resists continued metal flow into the gap, constraining the metal to fill the die cavity. एक तो ये होता है कि फ्लैश बनने से अगर आप देखें तो यहाँ पे रेजिस्टेंस क्रिएट होती है इस सरफेस की और फ्लैश की, सो इट हेल्प्स अस इन कंप्लीटली फिलिंग दिस कैविटी. ठीक, एक तो ये फायदा हो गया. The second one is in hot forging, metal flow is further restricted by cooling of thin flash against cool dies plate, thereby increasing its resistance to deformation. And the third one is restricting the metal flow in gap, increasing compression pressure in the parts, thus forcing the metal material to fill the intricate detail of the die cavity. So these are the three very easy importance of flash that is formed during impression die or closed die forging. ठीक है ना? Okay. Uh, that is, you can see this is the starting work period, work parts. These are the dies now in two partial compression and third final die closure. So these are the flash that are on that one. Impression die forging practice. Several forming steps often required with separate dies cavity for each steps to perform the starting blank into a desired final shape. The first one is beginning step to redistribute metal for more uniform deformation and desired material structure. Final step during the part to the final geometry. In addition to these, when drop forging is used, several blow of hammer may be required for each step. So if you are going to get the shape in various steps, so you have to drop the forging again and again in order to get the desired shape in different steps. Impression die forging is often performed manually by skill operator under adverse condition. So you can see this is the connecting rod that is produced by die forging. This was the blank, then aging, then blocking, then finishing, and then trimming. You will get the final connecting rod by using forging. Analysis of forging dies. Because of flash formation in the precision die forging and the more complex part shape made with these dies, forces in this process are significantly greater than open die casting, and they are more difficult to analyze than in open forging. For estimation, we use this formula F is equal to Kf by F into A, where F is the maximum force in operation, a projected area including flash, and Kf shaping factor that is again given in the table. When you saw that previous example, you will clearly understand how to get Kf value. F is the maximum force is at the end of the stroke and determine the required capacity for forging hammer or press. So there are certain advantages and disadvantages of impression die forging. The importance is that we can get higher production rate because the shape is already defined in die. You have to just press the material in these dies, so you can get the shape very easily. So that's why higher production rate, conservation of new metals, less waste is generated, greater strength is can be achieved, and favorable grain orientation in the metal. Now there are certain limitations. Not capable of close tolerance. They can be produced part with near net shape. So further trimming or machining operations is required in order to get your desired tolerance. Machining often required to achieve accuracies and feature needed such as holes, threads, and netting surface that fit with in other components. So this is basically if you do fall, you achieve your close tolerances. So that definitely this part will also be obtained, and this close tolerance can be achieved through different machining operations. Through close die forging or flashless forging or precision forging. So the raw material is completely contained within the die cavity during compression and no flash is formed. These are the same things we have already discussed. So kindly go through this slide. So you can see this is the example of flashless forging, the starting work period, the intermediate or partial compression, and the final compression. You will get the final shape with no flash. Forging dies and hammer and presses. Equipment that are used in forging process consist of forging machines. These are the forging hammers and forging press and the forging dies that special tools used in these machines. Auxiliary equipment, the first furnaces to heat the work, mechanical devices to load and unload the work, and trimming station to be cut. So all these forging machine, forging dies, furnace to heat work, mechanical devices to load and load and trimming station. That all these are the necessity for performing the forging operations. Now these are the forging hammers. Uh, I think we should skip this. Now, kindly go through these forging hammers. These are the certain information regarding the hammers that are used in the forging operation. These are the two gravity drop hammers and power hammers. Gravity means that it will fall due to the gravity and impact forces will be generated that will help in shaping operations. So now power drop means these are power driven machines that are pressurized by the airs or steams. So we have different impact, disadvantage or disadvantage of these both machines. Can you go through this slide? This is example of drop hammer machines. You have already seen different industry while you have it internship over there. These are the forging presses. Forging presses are the machine can be classified as mechanical, hydraulic, screw power, both hydraulic and screw power. So can you go through that? Impression forging dies. So we have dies that have the certain cavity or shape in that dies, and after performing the forging operation, the shape is imparted to that part. So proper die design is important in success of forging operation. Terminologies of these are parting line, drop, web, ribs, fillet, corner radius, and flesh gutter. So you can see that this is the flesh, this is extra material, and this is the flesh gutter where this flesh will goes. So that will be have a external and internal drop angle. So in order to remove the part, you have to give the drop angle, or you can see you have to drop allowance should be given. So this is web, this is rib. You have this corner fillet, corner. This is corner, and this is the trim line where you have to trim the. Other deformation process related to forgings are upsetting in heading, swelling in radial forging, roll forging, orbit forging, happening isothermal and trimming, etc. So we have to go through its upsetting and heading. Upsetting is a deformation operation in which a cylindrical work part is increased in diameter and reduced in length. So basically, in this operation, the diameter is you can say the diameter is increased and the length of the cylinder is reduced because you have seen that in forging operation, basically the diameter is increased and length is decreased. So that is used in faster industries to form heads of on nails. जो nails हैं जो कीले हैं उसके head को बनाने के लिए जो है वो upsetting और headings use होती हैं. More parts produced by upsetting than any other forging operation that is performed either cold, warm, or hard on machines called ladder or former. Wire or bar stock into fed machine and is heated, then piece is cut to the length. For bolt and screw threaded roll is used to form the threads. तो अगर आप देखें तो ये वो तरीका है जिससे जो है नेल्स के हेड्स बनाए जाते हैं, ठीक है ना. सो तो फर्स्ट वन इस ये है कि जो वायर स्टॉक है उसको फीड किया जाता है जितनी उसकी रिक्वायर्ड चाहिए. स्टॉपर है स्टॉप कर देता है, पंच है यहाँ पे स्टॉपर उठ जाता है, पंच जो है वो जाके इसको हिट करता है और उसकी जो एट फाइनल जो है शेप हेड बन जाती है. The same for creating different heads of the bolts. That must be flat head, that must be um, counter sink type head. You can say that is the uh, bolt head form that is by punch. So all in all this example you can see you have a head at the striking. Now this is a forging operation process used to reduce the diameter of tube or solid rod stock often performed on the end of workpiece to create a tapered section. So the end result will be reduction in diameter as well as create tapered section. Accomplished by rotating dies that hammers a workpiece radially inward to the taper as it at the piece is fed into the dry. Mandrels use some time required to control the shape and size of the internal diameter or tubular forms. These are the roller forgings. Now, in this example, the same you have rollers, you have the shape that is available on the roller. The work is passed through this roller, and the shape of the roller is important to the parchment. So these are the two example of rolling forging, also known as cross section, cross rolling. So kindly go through this paragraph. Isothermal forging. Iso means same and thermal means heat. So at same heating temperatures, you are going to perform forging operation. So hot forging operation, if the work part is maintained at or near its starting elevated temperature by heating the forging dies to the same elevated temperature. So beside the working piece, you have to also heat the dies to the elevated temperature near to the workpiece. See, surface cooling and the resulting thermal gradients in the workpiece are eliminated. So there will be no chances of rapid cooling. So work and complex part unity can be easily accomplished by using isothermal forging. Surface, the metal flow more readily and the force required to perform the process is reduced. However, the weakness, it will weaken the tool and reduce the tool life. So मशीन की लाइफ से हीटिंग की वजह से या डाइस जो है हीटिंग की वजह से उनकी टूल लाइफ कम हो सकती है. Suitable for difficult to forge metals such as titanium and superalloy and for complex part shapes. Now this is the trimming operation. Now trimming operation is used to perform to remove the extra material that will come in your product. So actually this is a cutting operation to remove the flesh from the work part in impression die forging, and it is usually done while work is still hot, so a separate trimming press is included at the forging station. Trimming can also be done by alternative methods such as grinding or swagging. Okay, that was the end of the lecture number, I think, 6. So, if you have any question, you can write in comment box of your classroom. Thank you.